What's up, everyone? I am Wink, and this is Scream Cheese. Today, we're going to be talking about In a Violent Nature, written and directed by Chris Nash and starring Rye Barrett. When a locket is removed from a collapsed fire tower in the woods that entombs the rotting corpse of Johnny, a vengeful spirit spurred on by a horrific 60-year-old crime, his body is resurrected and becomes hellbent on retrieving it. Kills didn't get the chance to watch this one. He'll be back on the next review, but when he does get a chance to watch this one, if he disagrees with me, we'll do another review where he and I argue about this one. I think that would be worth it. So Kills told me that all of the kind of big horror reviewers on YouTube have been loving this one. And honestly, I'm kind of shocked by that. So as we get into this review, first off, if you feel the same way that I do about this movie, please hit the like button. Let me know. And if you don't, if you think that I'm completely off, I'd like to hear why in the comments. Tell me what points I'm getting wrong. So first off, the novelty of this concept, following the point of view of like the supernatural killer, is awesome. And I think that they did that really, really well. In the very beginning, it's a little slow getting started, but I guess plot-wise, I can understand why. But I will tell you, in my head, if you explain to me, hey, we're gonna do this film from the perspective of a killer, first off, it's kind of been done before. While people say this is the first time, the remake of Maniac with Elijah Wood comes to mind. But regardless, that concept feels like it has the potential to get really old really quickly. And I would say in this film, it absolutely does. In the first 10 minutes, you get the idea of what this is, and it never changes. You are in the exact same formula for the rest of the film. You get that the character is walking around, and then you get that he's killing people. And because of that format, you're literally just waiting for kills, which sounds awesome. It sounds fine. It sounds like something for horror fans for sure. But the kill count in this movie is actually fairly low, so you're talking about more waiting than enjoying anything. Literally, the kills are the only part worth watching. Beyond that, you are literally just following this guy around the forest. And don't get me wrong, the forest looks great. It looks right. The setting looks perfect. But I'm talking about, I only saw it once in the theater now, so I don't have the time to clock it. But I'd be willing to bet that you're talking about 40 plus minutes of walking. So when it comes down to these kills, man, you've got one kill in this movie that is crazy, incredible. You're never gonna forget it. It's funny, my reaction to it in the theater was to start laughing. There are a few more kills that are creative and really gruesome, but the rest kind of fall flat, and even the gruesome ones to me kind of fall flat. Because of the format, you don't care or really know much about anyone, and these things just happen, and they're so over the top, they don't even give you any feeling of disgust or despair. They're just kind of happening, and I guess that's kind of cool, but it's an exercise in trying to be gruesome, and because we're so detached, it doesn't even feel as gruesome as it probably should. So, my complaint that the movie is mainly walking around, makes sense. This is a supernatural slasher killer, so it makes sense that we're going to be walking around. That makes sense, kind of, that that's what this movie is going to be, but it's not all that the movie is. The movie will have us in a third-person perspective, like we're playing a video game just waiting for the cutscenes that are the value of the movie. But for the most important plot points, the third-person perspective of the killer doesn't work. So they literally have to break their own convention for exposition and big plot points, and even most of the end of the film, because it doesn't work. It's ineffective. It's not a good way to tell a story. And they don't. Most of the story elements have to happen by breaking their own point of view thing that's so cool that we decided to do a whole movie about. The point of view concept is a perfect exploration. It's worth a shot to say, what would it be like if we do this for an entire movie? But in the end, the takeaway is, it doesn't work. The kills are cool, but the rest, like, we kind of get it and we should kind of move on. Anyway, that's my takeaway, and I feel like that's the takeaway most people should have, but it seems like audiences are okay with this and kind of seem to be taking the bait. We're talking about slasher films, a genre that is so formulaic. People literally just cut and paste what they've seen before. People make slashers with very low effort, very low budgets, and now we're taking a concept that we're basically greenlighting no effort. The only effort will be the kills. You can go in without a script. You don't have to put in nearly any of the money that you did before. Basically, your money is just getting sunk into your, hopefully, practical effects mixed with a little CGI to make it sell. But you're literally cutting out most of the cast interaction, most of the story. You're literally bare bones nothing. It's a perfect win for studios. And honestly, like, I kind of get it. I'll go to the next one. I'm sure we're gonna get a bunch of these now, but I'm literally only going for the kills. And you could edit it all out. It could be 30 minutes with just the kills, and then we got it. But instead, I'm gonna have to sit through these boring movies where we're gonna walk around and, okay, I get it, wait for the thing to happen. And I have seen people talk about how, like, what is so cool about this is the exploration of the stereotypes of slasher films. And even that is totally wrong. Like, literally the only stereotype that we're actually delving into is that killer, which is fair. That's the thing we're following. But people would like us to think that it's like the people that he's killing and stuff. No, it's not. I've seen so many slashers, and they're always the same group of kids. This group of people in A Violent Nature are unrecognizable. They don't follow any of the tropes. They are not like the same kids that appear in every slasher, and which is also fine, but don't sell me that this is like chasing down every stereotype of slashers, even when it comes down to the fact that there's absolutely no nudity in this film, and there's a perfectly good chance for gratuitous nudity, but the film isn't even like dangerous enough to tackle that aspect of horror, which is really weird that horror has gotten that way, where we're like in a genre that is so good about like looking at the most extreme parts of reality, but for some reason, in the modern age of horror, nudity has taken a back seat. In a world where it's become like mainstream for people to have OnlyFans and stuff, we like applaud people for it, but God forbid it were in our storytelling in movies. It's really, really bizarre. But yeah, these kids aren't like anybody that I recognize. And even to get to know them in the slightest, and we barely do, we have to break our third person perspective behind the killer and jump to being close to them, where the killer couldn't possibly be. As far as the production, it's perfectly fine. Like the shots look fine. I will say that like it is a little bit annoying that we're just hearing like a lot of what the cast is, what they're doing like off screen. It's not annoying that we're learning things that way. What's annoying is the fact that it sounds like it was recorded after the fact in most cases, which it probably was. The production looks fine. It's competently done. It's competently directed. I just feel like it's so lazy, and audiences fell for it, I think. So I'm going to give In a Violent Nature a 4.5. It's not a terrible movie, but it's terribly boring. Anyway, let me know what you thought of In a Violent Nature. Am I completely off base here? Did I just not get it? It's a possibility. Also, let me know of any other horror movies that you think I should check out. Also, make sure to like and subscribe, and we will see you next time. Peace out, cheesers.